So now that we have done a quick overview of the homepage and how you can add custom sections, let's now jump into the product page. And don't worry, we're going to be coming back to the homepage and spending a lot of time there, not only making sections, but also styling everything. But for now, I want to jump onto the product page, again, just to cover all of the basics right away, and then we can actually jump into the details. But from my experience, having a really high-level overview of exactly what we're going to be working with makes it a lot easier going forward, and you're going to know exactly what we're going to be doing and what needs to be finished for the theme to be exactly how we want it. So let's close the hero.liquid file, and we'll go into templates, and then we can go into product.liquid. So there's a lot going on here, so let me just move this down. Actually, I'll just close it. And let's actually see what's happening here. Let me just create some space here. We can see that using liquid, we're assigning a variable called current variant, and then we are giving it the value of product.selected or first available variant. Now let me show you where we can find out what that is. If we go back to shopify.dev, click on building themes again, and then liquid templating language, we can go down here and take a look at our object. The object that we want right now is the product object. Now, inside of the product object, we have a bunch of other objects available to us. And we can see that we can check whether the product is available, the collection name of the product, the compared ad price, and there's a bunch of other stuff like the handle, ID, images, options, and then we have options by name, options by value. So there's a lot of different things that we can access, and it doesn't make sense for me to go over all of them because it would make the course really bloated. So we're just going to stick to whatever we're going to be using for this course, but if you ever need to build any additional features, you can always reference this documentation and really play around with some of these. Now, back in our file, we had the selected or first available variant. We can check that over here. And for example, this product returns a variant object of the selected variant. So it actually returns a bunch of values. Now, going back to the code, let's take a look at what else we have here. We're assigning featured image and a value that is current variant dot featured image. So we're getting this variable over here and we're grabbing the featured image from it. And then we're assigning a default value. Again, we're using the filter symbol here, and we can go over here in our documentation. We can close this and we can see filters. The default filter will be in the additional filters, and it is right here on the right side. And we can see that the default filter sets a default value for any variable with no assigned value. So filters are a way for us to do additional operations with the liquid variables or any value that we have inside of a liquid. For example, in the math filters, we can subtract things by using the minus filter. We can use the plus filter. So 200 plus 15 here. And then there's a bunch of other things like array filters where we can join, get the first value, the last value, map, reverse. So throughout the course, we're going to be using a lot of these filters. So don't worry if they seem really unfamiliar still, because we're going to be diving a lot deeper into the filters once we actually get to more of the coding of the product pages and the home page. Going down the code, we have the image, the source that we're also getting from the featured image right here. And we're actually going to be changing a lot of this to use Vue.js and JavaScript. So for example, going down into the form, we're going to be manipulating this with Vue.js instead. Right here is just an HTML form. And the problem with the HTML form is it's not very flexible at all. That's why we're going to be replacing it with a much more dynamic solution. And keep in mind that variables like product are available by default on any product page. So you don't need to actually define what the product is. This is an object that is available to use on any page, and it's dynamic. So Shopify knows which product you're on, and it's going to give you information for that particular product. All right, so let's go ahead and mark up this page so that it's structured the way that we want it to be structured. And let's take a look at what we're going to be building. You can go into the menu, collection, and click on the product. And we can see over here that we have the image on the left side, and then all of the description and the add to cart form on the right side. And then we have this slider carousel, for which we're going to be using the swiper JavaScript package. And this is what we have right now. So as we can see, we have this drop down menu instead of this custom select. And then we have the quantity, whereas we don't have the quantity here. So we're going to be removing some stuff and we're going to be adding some stuff. So let's go ahead and first of all, wrap everything inside of our div just so that we can style it easier. And we'll give it a class of product template. And then we also want to give it a class of container. And again, I'm going to be talking about some of these reusable classes that I'm building. And then let's create another div for the images. And then we can do that and move the images portion inside of the images container. After that, let's give it a few spaces and we will add another div. So you can use both div.className or you can use this one, product description container. And then inside of the product description container, we're going to create another div, and this one will be product title. And then what we can do is we can move the product title in there. And then we can create another div class product bottom. And then we can do another div class equals product description. So let's go ahead and grab the description from down here. And then we can just remove this div since we don't really need it. And then so what we're left with now is just the form. For the form part, let's go ahead and create a new snippet. So let's save this file and then we'll go into snippets and we'll create a snippet called add to cart form.liquid. And the reason we want to break things up like that into snippets and sections is it's going to be a lot easier reading the code once all of this is gone, and then we'll just have kind of this section for the product page. So let's go ahead and actually copy that and delete it, and then we'll put it inside of our add to cart form. And now what we can do is we can go back into the product page, and then underneath the description, we can just use the render method to render this snippet. And now if we click save, we can go back into our file and see what this gives us. And obviously nothing has changed because we literally just put everything into separate divs, but we didn't actually change or style anything. So those are the 3 pages that we're going to be working with in this course. And I hope this brief overview gave you a good idea of what this project is going to entail. So next is we're actually going to start implementing some of the more advanced features into the course, like Vue.js, but also we're going to start styling and actually making this theme come together.